Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is David, this is David K Reacts, and here on this channel I ramble with articulation, I hope, about a variety of different audio, musical and visual elements based on the videos that I watch. Today is going to be one of the slightly different videos that I've been talking about for a little while, in that this is an analysis only. I know I did the video essay of One Winged Angel recently, but this is going to be an analysis. Well, I say analysis only. This is going to be an analysis, but also a visual reaction to a song. I have heard the song before. I have not seen the music video we're going to be watching today. And so I will be reacting to the video, and to an extent to the song, but I have heard it before. And then I will be going back and doing my usual analysis. And the song in question is by a group called the Diablo Swing Orchestra, and the song is Superhero Jagganath. Diablo Swing Orchestra is a group I tripped over a while ago, and I'm not 100% sure, it might have been on MySpace? There to date myself. I can't quite remember, but I think it was. And I came across a song called the Balrog Boogie. And as somebody who loves Boogie Woogie and Lord of the Rings, that seemed like an obvious thing for me to listen to. What I actually got was this bizarre fusion of swing music and metal. And that's kind of what the Diablo Swing Orchestra does. They're a Swedish avant-garde metal band that basically smash together any genre they can think of with metal and turn it into this very eclectic and yet somehow cohesive portfolio of music. They have 5 albums out now, starting with the Butcher's Ballroom, which was the one that has Balrog Boogie. And you can probably already guess, and I'm going to bring up a couple of titles that I particularly want to share. You could probably guess from what I've said so far that they are very good at naming things. Their 5 albums that they have to date are the Butcher's Ballroom, Sing-Along Songs for the Damned and Delirious, Pandora's Pinata, Pacifisticuffs, and Swagger and Stroll Down the Rabbit Hole. Quite marvellous in terms of their titling, and that carries on to their track names as well. We have the Balrog Boogie, we have Poetic Pitbull Revolutions, both of those are on the Butcher's Ballroom. Sing-Along Songs had a Tap Dancer's Dilemma, which I think is a marvellous title. But then you start to get into the really bizarre ones, and I want to make sure I actually get these tracks correct, because it's easy to... You get Speed Dating an Arsonist. You get Sightseeing in the Apocalypse. Where's Exit Strategy of a Wrecking Ball is one of my favourite titles of anything ever, I think. And it's just... They are as eclectic as their music, and I'm here for all of it. It's marvellous, it's bizarre, and I wanted to bring something of it to my channel. The problem is, I've heard it all, so I can't react to something new. But they have got a music video for Superhero Jagganath, and I have never watched it, so we're going to go and see this. This is from Pacifisticuffs, which is their 4th album. And this album came out in 2014? No. That was the period they were working on it for. Came out in December 2017. And this song, as soon as I heard it, just completely owned my soul. It's marvellous. It's such a great piece of music. It's so eclectic. It's so varied. This is absolutely not going to be to everybody's taste. I can say that without a shadow of a doubt. And if this isn't for you, then that's fine. But I hope to bring this to some people who haven't heard these guys before and kind of go, wow, that's cool. Let's look into more of it. I did just want to go into a tiny, tiny bit of the etymology of the title, because it's such a fascinating Superhero Jagganath. I was like, oh, what's Jagganath? Jagganath is it comes from originally a Sanskrit word, and it's actually where we get juggernaut from. That was an early English rendering of the same word. The word Jagganath comes from Jagat, meaning universe, and Nata, meaning master or lord. So Jagganath is master of the universe. In Odia Hinduism, Jagganath is the supreme god. To Vaishnava Hindus, he is seen as an abstract representation of Krishna. And there's a variety, basically, in different Hindu sort of sects, I guess is the right word. I'm not 100% sure. They see Jagganath from a slightly different lens, but he's generally considered to be a very, very powerful god in the sort of Hindu pantheon. I don't know much more about it than that, and I don't want to go digging into this because that's a large amount of information I could get wrong very easily. I'd look this... and full transparency, I looked this up on Wikipedia because I don't know this information. But that seems to be where the word comes from, and so superhero Jagganath is a superhero who is the lord of the universe. Or at least that's the implication from the title, I think. This is all slightly bizarre, and I don't really think I can say much more. We're just going to have to watch the song, and you'll see what I mean. So with that, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if this is your first time here. If it is, the way this normally works is I watch this through from beginning to end, commenting and emoting over the top. And then I go back and watch it a second time, this time pausing, interrupting, and offering what commentary and analysis I feel I can, based upon what I've just seen and heard, and the foreknowledge of having seen it once before. That is effectively all going to happen. Just remember, I have heard the song before this many, many times. Not for a little while, actually. I haven't listened to this album for a bit. But this is not a first-time reaction to the music. It is a first-time reaction to the visuals. And then my analysis will be the normal. Please do like the video, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And if you would care to, you can donate to support the channel, either at buymeacoffee.com/DavidKReacts or patreon.com/DavidKReacts. Or you can leave a super thanks here on YouTube. And any of those, no pressure, but very gratefully appreciated if you would like to do so. That is, I think, everything I have to say about this. Oh, the one thing I didn't say anything about was the band, of course. The Diablo Swing Orchestra, I can't actually remember how many members they have. I know there have been a lot of member changes. Right now, it would appear, according to Wikipedia again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 members currently in the band. Hello. This is superhero Timmy, if you haven't met him before. Hey, bud. He's coming up to have a listen. So yeah, currently 8 members in the band. I think they also bring guest members on, because when they say swing orchestra, they mean it. There are a lot of instruments involved in their music. I haven't seen videos of them to be able to identify them or anything like that. I don't know whether we're going to see them in this video even. We will see. Hello, Future David here, jumping in. Having now seen the video that you're about to watch a video about, massive strobe warning. If anybody is uncomfortable with strobe lighting, this is not the video for you to watch. Just wanted to make sure that was... I'll have a content warning at the beginning of the video as well, but I wanted to make sure that was very clear. This video, there's a lot of sped up footage, there's a lot of flashing lights. So please do take that under advisement, and if you are not comfortable with flashing lights, please do not watch this video. It would not be something that I think you would enjoy. Alright, back to Past David. Let us go. So without any further delay, this is the Diablo Swing Orchestra's superhero Jagganath. You can immediately see what I see about the clash of genres. Oh, wow. So I'm guessing this is the singer? That we're seeing, I mean. And then we go into a completely different genre. It's amazing. I love how abstract the video is. Wow. This is a lot visually. Strobe warning going in the front of this video. Oh, Bohemian Rhapsody style. Are these the 8 members? That's cool. So many different vocal styles. Wow! This video is a lot. It's so always in tune with the music, though. How hectic it is, frantic. I did not see that coming. This is a fever dream. Completely different vocal style. Wow, this video is amazing. Oh, just the lone face. Oh, this is cool. Oh, I like that we get shots of the instrumentalists as well, that's cool. Very sped up footage. Or I think it is. Wow! The artistry in this video is amazing. Wow! This is... I don't know what I expected, but my goodness. It's so beautiful at points. Wow. No hope of reading the credits. Wow! I mean, I kind of should have expected that because of how completely frenetic the song itself is. But that video is nuts in the most fun way. This is, you know, the funny thing is, that is not a style of music video I would normally appreciate. And yet, somehow going along with this music, it works. Also hilarious that this is the t-shirt that I chose to wear, because I feel the Rick and Morty fever dream kind of translates. Wow, that was a lot. Firstly, I hope you enjoyed the song. You see what I mean about crashing, and this song, I think, more than most, if not maybe all, crashes so many different genres together. It's literally like I feel like it's that thing, isn't it, where it's like, you know, you remove one slice of pizza and then take the box and leave the one slice behind. That's kind of what I feel like's happened here. Somebody put every single musical genre in the world on a table, and they like picked up hip-hop and put it to one side, and then took the rest and dumped it into the song. That's it's kind of what it feels like a little bit. My goodness, that video is nuts as well. There's both going to be a lot to talk about and not a lot to talk about, because for chunks of time, kind of the same thing happens. But let's go back. I just realized I don't actually know. I haven't looked to see, is there any information in the description for this video? Can be heard on passive fisticuffs. Yep, we know that. There is a substantial list here, but actually the production team. So, production Dallas... Forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce this name. STHLM. Stlm. Idea and concept, Klaas Hjertberg and Johan Gustafsson. Director, Johan Gustafsson. DOP, Klaas Hjertberg. Oh, interesting. So the director and the DOP concepted the whole thing together. 5-man VFX team, including Klaas Hjertberg and Marcus Gustafsson. Grats to the VFX team. Like, this is an incredible thing. They've got the members down here. Okay, fair enough. There's the 8 folks. And then they actually do have 7 additional musicians. So there are 15 musicians on this song. Produced by Roberto Largi, co-produced by Pontus Mantefors. And the dancer, again, I forgive the butchering of the name, Iracema Castro? Or Iracema? I have no idea. Yracema Castro. Forgive me, I do not know how to pronounce that. Okay, so there we have our answer. 15 musicians in this. So they hired 7 folks in to join them for this song, which makes complete sense because it's enormous in terms of its scope. This is going to be a challenge. Let's go back and see what this analysis is going to look like. So I've no idea what's being said there, but I do enjoy that you get what sounds like tuning up, like plugging an amp in at the beginning of a sound check for a gig, and yet it's almost got radio interference going on as well. It's an interesting sort of soundscape to create before this song starts, because you get that vibe of we're about to get a performance, and then it kind of goes somewhere else, and I feel like that's a really good setup for what this song is about. And then as that's happening, we get this gradual appearance of the dancer with complete grayscale happening. Just black in the background and just lighting from both sides, which is so fascinating because we get enough light to get the silhouette of the figure that is standing there with absolutely no detail whatsoever outside of the sort of folds in the bodysuit that she's wearing on the inside of her elbows. That's kind of all the detail we can see, and what a fascinating choice for a first shot. And I love that until that, after the 4 bars where you get the banana coming in, we see her warming up and stretching. And it's such a great move for the first thing, because it's interesting, because in one way it seems really peaceful, and yet it's not like she's going into yoga poses. It's like, that flex, the stretch of the arm muscle, like she's getting ready for something. And that kind of gives you the hint that there's going to be movement coming your way. I don't know if anybody would guess how much, but I enjoy that as a kind. Everything's building at this point. We have the sound of the amp and like the amp radio mix. We have the drums coming in, and even though they come in with that ba 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 ba, it's a fairly strong rhythm. It's nothing compared to where they're going. They're still building up too. The dancer is visually building up. Everything is leading somewhere. Great stuff. And then we have this lovely juxtaposition of this gentle head roll and kind of unraveling of the body slightly going on, and then suddenly this kind of, it's almost like that dancing flower, isn't it? Does anybody remember that? The dancing flower that you plugged in and you turned on the switch, and if you played noise or music near it, it was that kind of motion. That's the vibe I'm getting from this. But it's this very frantic, it immediately comes in with very kind of frantic motion. Also, what's interesting, this appears to have been slowed down. So this isn't a gentle head roll, actually. She's probably done one of these, because if you look behind, as we're looking, her left side, so to the right of her as we see, you see her, this very, very long ponytail she's got, swing out. Right there. It comes out from behind her. And you can see it swing back in slightly there as well. So that's obviously a very slowed down shot where she's whipped her head around enough for the ponytail to swing out. You can see how much they play with speed in this. We kind of go from this to this very, very deliberate motion of rolling the arm at that point. Really fascinating how much they're playing with all of that. And we get that as this almost like Morse code staccato trumpet comes in the background. It's weird because the motions are quite sensual, I think. There's that, the hand on the hip, the kind of the movements that are going on there. But you only get fractions where they're actually allowed to be. And the rest of the time, it's this very frantic speed that they've either, there are points I can't tell. I feel like there are points where that's actually the speed she's moving, and there are points where they've sped up other stuff that she's doing. I don't know enough about video production to have any kind of a guess at that, especially with very few context clues around. But it's fascinating to me that we have these brief moments of clarity in and amongst the chaos. It's quite fascinating. And then we get this amazing bum 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 as we get this next section where each cut not only changes to a different pose on the model, but a different color of the background. You go from this almost completely black screen to burn your retinas away levels of color, just like that, and then they flicker through, and it's quite disjointed and quite disarming to the viewer, which I imagine is probably very much the result that they were hoping to create. And then we get that flare out where it flashes just briefly, I think, white. Yeah, just that kind of boof. And the model is not, or the dancer is not in view as that happens. She's very blurred and out of focus. And you just kind of get that flare out and then away. And then we cut back to this sort of multi-image that we're going to get here. Where you've got multiples of the dancer doing similar moves, but different enough that they are very clearly separate. This is fascinating. I don't know how much Diablo Swing Orchestra drew from any kind of religious context, but I could be horribly wrong here, but am I not mistaken in thinking that there is at least one, possibly several Hindu gods that have multiple faces and multiple limbs and things like that? I wonder if there is some relevance to that in seeing multiple images of the dancer on screen at the same time. So we have 3 heads, we have 4, 6 arms all at the same time. I don't know if this is where DSO took their inspiration from, and whether they deliberately included that in this video, or whether I'm just projecting, interpreting their video some way and projecting the most relatable thought that I can have based on my knowledge of what Jagganath means. No idea. And it's interesting because they're cutting to the next section each time ever so slightly before it starts. So when we come out of this... Actually, no, that's a bad... No, it was going into that, wasn't it? I don't usually go this far back, but... where we get the colours coming in. Here. That blue. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. This colour is the downbeat. So we've had that little introduction, that upbeat of the new visual before we actually hit the downbeat of the new section. And that's happening here too. There. That is the downbeat when she starts singing. So we're introduced to the singer early. And I like that they're doing that because it gives us a second to acclimatize to one thing, in this case the visuals, before the audio changes, which I think is very smart because there is so much going on. If these, very disparate images were suddenly being smash cut between the exact moment the music does a complete overhaul of what we're hearing, that might actually be too much stimulus all at the same time. I like this use here of the double image that then comes onto the dancer as well, but also of the two colours that they've got, green and purple. They are not colours that you would normally expect to see together. They're both secondary colours in terms of the colour wheel. We have the combination of red and blue and the combination of yellow and blue. Normally, if you want complementary colours, you go to the opposite side of that colour wheel. So purple is complemented by yellow because you've got red and blue already, so you have yellow. Similarly, green is complemented by red. It's one of the reasons that Christmas colours, I think, probably are what they are, because green and red sit together really nicely. The fact that they've got green and purple here means we've got two very clashing colours. Almost gives you that effect that you should be wearing 3D glasses to watch this. And I also like that we have this kind of corona effect around... I'm not sure. I think it's just the purple one. So it's almost like the green... Especially because we can see hair more clearly, and I don't know if that's just because of where the placement is, because I can see hair on the purple image as well. But it kind of gives you the idea that the green is maybe real, for want of a better word, and the purple is this ethereal mask that's floating around as well, especially because we can see through the purple to the image of the green. And it seems like the purple is on top. There's a lot here going on, and I'm just kind of, really stating what's on the screen more than anything. But it's a fascinating use of colour and sort of image trickery to give us this effect. And it's nowhere near as disorienting as that kind of colour flashing we were having earlier, but it's still not something you expect to look at. So it takes you... you're having to concentrate on this video to really have any understanding of what's happening in it. And I kind of like that because you can take it at two values. You can take it where you look at it, like I'm doing right now, and really try and understand what's happening. Or you can just bathe in it the way that you bathe in ambient music almost. Far too frenetic for that. But do you know what I mean? It's that kind of feeling.
If people want to catch me like an animal, tonight I'm gonna show you my supremacy.
And this cutting that we get between them when it's kind of jerking around, the face jerks from place to place on the screen. And obviously, we're just kind of cutting to different takes, I guess, of the same thing. I feel like the mouth is kind of singing the lyrics pretty correctly. But I enjoy the fact that it bumps around the screen a little bit. It kind of gives it a glitchy quality. Which is actually really cool and adds to this sort of slightly sci-fi, because the purple face almost looks like kind of original Tron style visual effects. It's a really, really interesting visual look that they've adopted for this, and I like the glitchy aspect that you get from the face kind of jumping around the screen. And I haven't sort of talked about the music much here, but we kind of have this interesting blend that we've got here of trombone and cello accompanying this music, and you have three completely different things. You have bom 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 going on in the trombone. The cello's kind of got this slightly dissonant, moving around line that's just kind of slowly moving through, and then you have this kind of very kind of staccato, frantic vocal that's going on. Oh, I guess not. No, it's not that staccato, but it's broken up. It doesn't have you don't get the sense that from the beginning to the end of this section you're listening to one phrase.
If people want to catch me like an animal, tonight I'm gonna show you my supremacy.
And I love that we get to this kind of military, almost slightly operatic dum da 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 dum dum da 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 dum da 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 da. You kind of get the vein. You could be going into, you know, leading into a key moment in an opera. We're getting this very, very sort of specific style of drum that we've got going on here, and the harmonic accompaniment that's going with it too. Go bum 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 bum, kind of going on, and you have these bum bum at the end of it as well. Lots of pizzicato happening. This is suddenly much more. It's weird because it's kind of almost giving a vein of being more pulled together than the last section was, and yet it's very broken up. The amount they play with texture, both visually and audibly, in this is fascinating.
I'm uneraseable, I'm Jagganath.
Just beautiful. That harmony there, the three female voices, I think it's three that we're hearing. And I love that we pair it with this very gentle, like waving the arm through these sort of water globules almost. Just very slow. We've got the same colours, but notice they're a little more separated now. Green is more towards the top and the right-hand side of the screen. Purple is a little bit more towards the bottom, at least the right, I guess, her left arm, so the right one as we're seeing it. And purple is a little bit to the opposite to that. It's a little bit more divided rather than on top of each other that we had, which weirdly, even though the colours are still clashing, makes it a little bit more holistic. And then behind it, you have this gorgeous harmony. And then right here, we go into the... we sort of briefly switch down into the relative minor and come back up of the key that we were in. So we're getting these very subtle shifts in the harmony as well. It's quite fascinating. So we get that lovely bum, 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 bum. That's our relative minor. Bum, 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 bum. There's our major. So those two keys are directly related. They have the same key signature on a stave. But what I love is we get the bum, bum, bum. So we just sit on that. It's the minor sixth, effectively. Or it's the sixth, rather. Creating the relative minor, but then just go bum bum, perfect cadence back up again. And the vocals are singing the same melody that they just sang on the previous line, which again points out that you can sing the same thing on top of the relative minor, and it sounds more or less the same, just with a slightly different tonality. Now, there's something they just did there that I love about DSO's work. Right there. To this chord. Da-dum. There's just that very slight dissonant passing note in there in the background as they go to the next thing. And one of the things I find fascinating with DSO is that you'll hear tiny musical details that if you're the first time you're listening to it, if you're not paying attention, they'll just pass you by. But I think you can understand already that this music is complex. It gets infinitely more complex when you start really paying attention to it. And then we get, again, ahead of the beat, this... Oh, wow, I stopped that well. We get this moment of the screen flashing red, and then we're back to the green and the purple, but now the red is in the shot as well, and we have these two images on top of each other. Super high speed, like sped up dance moves going on here. And we've got this other imagery in the background, and I'm not quite sure what it is, whether that's a visual effect. It almost looks like, if you sort of straightened it out, it's like audio sound waves or spikes almost. I'm not quite sure what they're going for with this, but I love that we kind of get this chaos over this da-da-dum, da-da-dum. It's very, the change in the music is represented with the change in the visual, which makes complete sense. And we're getting those flashes of red as well, which are, it already we're looking at something completely nuts, but those flashes of red kind of reinvigorate the tension in the mind, I think. At least that's what it feels like to me. Every time they happen, you're like, whoa, you know, it catches you and kind of re-engages you into the chaos. It's really interesting. And even though we've got that boom, boom going on behind it, that very, very gentle line there. Everything slows down for a second and then bang, right back into it. They're just playing so much with tempo, but they're playing with tempo in both media, audio and visual. Great stuff. And now we're getting blue flashes as well, so the mind's like, wait a minute, what on earth is going on? This is bizarre. And green? All kinds of colours, I think. And there we really see this, it's almost like, it's verging on fractal imagery in some ways. This is extraordinary, this visual effect that they've chosen to use behind this. Like glass shards, or I don't know. It's just really cool. Or is it needle tips? Oh, it kind of gives me a vibe of needle tips as well. I don't know what's happening here, but wow, whatever it is, it's just so potent because it's kind of adds the spikiness, adds to the discomfort of what's actually happening on screen right now, and I think that's actually really clever. And they do this a couple of times in this video. We have this chaos. We got this beautiful note being held on over the top. This kind of that again. This they keep this very percussive almost throughout the entire song. And then you get this. You get the two faces here. Jagganath. And I like that they cut to those for these moments because it's there almost like a transition. It's almost like we're getting a fade out, fade in, but instead we get these faces for a moment. We get a different color palette. We've got these deep blues, this green as well. It's kind of, the green's almost out of place in some ways, and yet it's not. It's kind of weird. You get this underwater vibe almost from this shot, and then we come back in here. And I love this Bohemian Rhapsody look that they've got going on here. There's 8 of them. They've all got different levels, but you get this vibe of that video like that. And I think the fact that the 4 to the right-hand side of the screen are more or less, not quite perfectly, but more or less in that sort of diamond shape that we recognize from Bohemian Rhapsody, I think adds a lot to it. But I love that the way they've lit this, so many of them look like they've kind of got hollow or sunken eye sockets. It's giving almost like a skeletal look to the faces. Very, very powerful imagery here. And I love that we get this music that we get here is just brilliant. That whole section, we got this and then you get those little changes, these shifts around with that, but at the same time you've got these little trumpet fanfare calls interrupting all of this. You have the drums kind of keeping pace with that rhythm beat. And there's a violin, I think, climbing way up. I don't think that's a voice. I think that's a violin climbing up there. Sometimes I wonder if they like got pitch shift voices and things like that. I don't think that is. I think that's a violin just squeaking up into the top of its range there. And I love that we get that bum 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 in the brass right there. It kind of gives us this slightly different thing, and then we get this bum 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 and this much faster percussive rhythm. Again, they've got this lovely push and pull here, while the singers are actually singing this very kind of strung together legato line over the top of this, compared to what we're hearing underneath. And this time we get so much more movement. That bass, that rhythmic line is moving so much more now than it was a minute ago. a monster, da, da. These violin lines kind of playing in the same rhythm that they are, but giving us these lovely harmonic lines that they're kind of singing away on the top there. This is great. And again, we get this lovely motion here, chordally. Da, da, da. Da, 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 da. It's interesting because we've gone da. There's a third to the sixth. That's our perfect cadence in our relative minor. Dum 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 dum. It's that there, but then we go from dum dum. We go down a semitone, a half step, to the flat six, and we get flat six, flat seven, tonic. Dum 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 dum. Which is such a great motion, and I love that they just sneak that in there. So this whole chunk, the second time you hear it, is actually a very different feel from the first time. I'm just going to play the whole thing again and see if you can pick that up. So there we get the dum 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 dum. Very typical movement. And we come out of this beautiful chorus harmony that we've just had with the sort of Bohemian Rhapsody section, for want of a better phrase, and you got this kind of crying, this onset to these lines here. And then this very high kind of waily cry sounds to the vocals that we get. And you get this lovely kind of inveigling hand as part of the imagery. And then it goes nuts again. Trying to decide what they've used a different imagery behind this time. It almost looks more like hair. And what's interesting to me is I feel like we don't need to understand what's being said here, because every now and then you hear Jagganath, and it kind of grounds you back into what's happening because it's a word you recognize. I kind of find that fascinating. It doesn't bother me so much that I'm not catching other words, because of that foundation that we've got. And now it's interesting because we have blue down to purple, across to red, back up to green. We've got the four colours on the one person now, so things are starting to merge from where they were before. And interestingly, the top of the head is almost always in that grayscale look from the beginning again. The use of colour in this is astonishing. The way that they bring it in and out and in and out is really quite extraordinary. And I like this movement too. We get that bum, 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 bum. And as we do, there's a cut to a different pose, but then the ba 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 is just this slow motion, even though it's kind of that same strength of hit that we were just getting. And then we start getting this almost hippie visual. It's quite extraordinary, of these neon plant-like tendrils just kind of swirling through with the petals dripping down. We've got the pink, we've got the blue, we've got the green, colours that we are used to seeing. We've kind of almost got the purple in the background. This is just so bizarre. At the same time, the patterning on these tendrils is also kind of giving me a little bit of a lava lamp vibe too. It's quite... this visual's amazing, and I love that we get this little brass introduction to this next section. And now we've gone into this kind of gentle Latin feel, where you've got the boom, 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 but you've got the shaker going, sh, 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 boom, 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 boom. Like, it's totally changed genre from what we were just listening to, and yet some weird way it fits. And then you get this cool thing of the flowers. And what I do like with the flowers... I want to check myself on this. Yeah, the face in the flower is never the same colour as the flower itself. So you've always got these clashes going on. But it helps to keep the face clear, because we're not seeing something blend into the colour of the tendril. I love that so much. It's such a simple thing. Are we going to change our visual? Not this time. The visual's going to... Everything is going to carry on, but we're going to get effectively camera shake, or visual effects shake. Which is just a very, very simple way of covering that. And then we're back into the same vibe we were just in before.
To succeed, the herd stampedes hysterically.
And what's fascinating here, the herd stampedes hysterically. Like, we're getting these chaotic lyrics, but with the calmest vocal we've had all song. And this very long, this hysterically, like this very legato phrasing that we've got going on here. And the guitar even, the doo-doo, like the pull on the strings to bend that note a little bit.
Hysterically, violent masquerade.
I love this harmony too. It's such a fascinating harmony. You get the sense that the female line here is the melody, but at the same time, is it? You could almost be forgiven for not being sure. We've slightly set it up previously that is what because we know what we're listening to. But the way that the two lines are wrapping around each other, you could be forgiven for thinking that actually it's switching, or it was never, this whole set, once he's in, it's him. It's kind of very malleable in terms of how you listen to it, and I find that extraordinary.
Violent masquerade. I'm brutal and appalling to your common eyes. Tonight I'm gonna show you my supreme. I'm gonna pray.
And now we get this. Everything is the same, but we're gonna this very light thing, and she's suddenly going, I'm gonna cry, even. But it's much stronger vocal quality coming in here. A different voice, a different person, a different face coming in and kind of shaking up the sound a little bit, but at the same time not changing it that much.
Come on, eyes. Tonight I'm gonna show you my supreme. I'm gonna pray inside your mind.
And I love that we get this strength inside your mind, that kind of bracketing these rich notes with this very kind of, it's not quite staccato, because it's not like it's inside your mind, but this inside your, the playing with the breath and the vocal quality that's being produced to give us this slightly more unsettled vibe. It's really cool.
I'm about to try a little thing called hypnotize. Know what you nowhere to hide.
And the slides to pie. Again, it's kind of lending itself to these long, slow notes, and he's talking about, I'm going to try hypnotizing. There is a slightly hypnotic quality to what's going on here, but it just extraordinary what they're doing here.
Nowhere to hide, and in the end I will deliver your demise.
Slightly suggestive imagery going on there. But in the end, I will deliver your demise. And in the end, I will deliver your demise. Very kind of... There's something almost seductive about that demise, luring you into it. But it's also a confidence, which, if Jagganath is the master of the universe, sure, why not? But I like the way that all plays together.
And I will deliver your demise.
And this, I think, this section might be my favourite part of the song. I love this little thing. We've gone back to the dum 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 dum, this kind of military drum thing that's going on here. Totally different vibe, though. I love that we just have the one face. It's purple this time, not in grayscale, and the rest of the screen is black. We have nothing else to focus on. And yet there's this rich harmony happening both in the instruments and in the vocals. Still a lot happening, but visually speaking, we've just pared it right down. There's something almost like a kind of a fugue type feel, and also a slightly romantic string quartet kind of feel about the way that these strings are being played here, the way that they're sliding around each other and kind of supporting the melody that's going on. It's just fascinating. We get this da-da-da coming through a few times, just kind of leading. It's a nice harmony for the melody that's happening. And there we get this lovely dum 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 dum. Yeah, it's a 4 minor 4 1, which is a lovely transition. You get the dum, there's the 6, which is the 3rd of the 4th, and then we get bum, which goes down to the minor 6th, which is the 3rd of the minor 4th, and then bum, which is the 5th of our tonic. So you get this lovely chromatic da 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 leading down into the final chord before we come back in again, which is the much more strident brass version of this same thing. There. Lovely. And, oh, what's going on here is crazy. I love this. Just dum, 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 dum. Dum. Like they leave that pause for unerasable. And even there, bum bum bum, dum, this little fanfare things coming in the trumpets. There's always so much going on. That's literally the first time I'd heard that trumpet, because I'm focusing on it now and I'm listening to it as I'm doing this analysis. I hadn't heard that before, and I must have listened to this song, I exaggerated earlier, probably 100 times. Because I had one day where I think I listened to it about 25 times in a row, because first time I'd listened to it, I was so blown away with what I was hearing and trying to make sense of it. And I'm still picking things up now. And I love that you get this, it's this beautiful, this very kind of strong chorus element. It's still got that military quality to it. But then over the final thing, I'm Jagganath, you get that kind of childish whine again over the top of it, which totally changes the tenor of the music as we go into this section. And now you have this cool thing with all these heads kind of ringing the initial 8. Also, I love the fact that we have 8 completely different colours here. The 2 purples are close, but I think they're just a little different. But just the idea that every individual has their own colour that they are represented by is kind of awesome. And I love this so much. A couple of things I really like here. In the video, I like that as we go through this section, different people's colours change. And then you've set this thing up where you've got 3 of these superhero Jagganath, and then the 4th one you get the scream. All the heads start spinning in the background, and we're taken out of where we were back into the frenzy again. And now we get all this really cool sped up footage of the instrumentalist playing. I like that they get a moment in this as well, especially where we do have an instrumental section of the song. All the colours are now just mixed in there. I feel like there's less order to it now, deliberately so. Really cool effect. And you've got this very kind of da 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 da, this very kind of slow brass line over this very, very frantic drum part, and the bass kind of moving all over the place. And then suddenly at the end of it, you get this as the strings come back in to do the same thing. I love I'm sure if it's a viola or if it's the cello there. Fascinating line in the middle of all of that. Really nice that it stands out a little bit. You could focus on the violin going nuts at the top, or you could have something else to listen to that's doing something different but still in support of everything that's happening on top of it. The layering in this is astonishing. And I think because the strings are a different section, playing something that has a different tempo feel to it, it kind of works over the top of what we've already got. It's really clever writing. Again, nice touch here. All of this crazy visual kind of coalesces into this face coming forward now. And then the second time that it's a repeating piece of footage, I think, or something very close, where it comes up, and then the second time, just that eye turning bright blue is just, it catches the eye. No pun intended. And they've obviously done it deliberately, and I'm not even sure why my eye is being pulled there. But it is, because that one thing has changed. The colours on the face, still the same. But the eye, suddenly gone blue. Oh, and I've just seen what they've done. Duh, I should have seen this before. They're not messing with the colours on the instrumentalists at all. It's almost like they've put colour filters on top of the footage. So the colours aren't changing place at all. But the footage behind it is changing, which gives it the image, the kind of feel that it's moving around. But you can see here, they're just there on the footage as filters on top of everything that's going on underneath them. And then you get this wall of talking heads all singing Superhero Jagganath. Only 4 colours this time, so there's 2 people per colour. But just this wall of people singing Superhero Jagganath. And it's no more people than we had beforehand, and the effect isn't that it is that much, but the visual of it kind of makes it seem much more expansive than it was before, which is really cool. I think I may have talked over that before, but I love that you get Superhero Jagganath, Superhero Jagganath, super duper hero. Just that little, the super duper getting in there. And I just want to see what they do with the timing. That's so fascinating because you have a bar of 6. Superhero Jagganath. There's 6. And then another one. And then you get super duper Jagganath. So they've added a beat in. We've got a 7, but then you've also got the ba-da-da-ba-ba-ba-ba and the trumpets. So either we have an upbeat bar of 2, or we actually have a long bar of 9. So they're really playing with time here a little bit, and it's unsettling because the ear will pick up that things have changed a little bit. The super duper you kind of don't want them to still do duper Jagganath to the same length as they'd just done it. You want them to fit it into 6, but it doesn't fit into 6, so they do 7 instead. And it makes it sound that little bit more unbalanced in a very cool way. And now we get this thing, but oh my goodness, the bass line below is moving around so much more. There's so much more implied harmony going on here than we had when it was just the Bohemian Rhapsody type thing. Bum 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 bum, like it's going all over the place. I'm not quite sure of the notes, but. And there we have a bum, ba 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 bum, much more defined descent to the relative minor at that point. And we still get the -6, -7 back to the tonic, but we've gone into it again with much more stuff happening. I also like that we now have all the dancers here in a row, dancing away. Each one seems to have their own colour, but we've also brought these red flashes back. So it's getting more and more and more unsettling as we go on. And this, again, is giving me that multi-armed, multifaceted aspect look again, which I know this is a fairly common dance technique, but I think it's relevant to this particular story. And I love that. You see the the dancers all shift position to kind of become this one dancer, and then here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of her, and it's like they anti-glitch together. That's so cool. And then she's left just in the pink, and you get a quality of rose petals. And I don't know if that's my mind projecting rose onto this because of the colour that's being projected onto her right now. But the petals falling as she's moving around. And listen to that disintegrate. This is just, fascinating. I mean, this could almost be avant-garde Baroque music in the way that it's everything fits together. And if it just stopped right there on that chord, bum bum, it would feel like it hadn't shifted at all. And you get this chromatic descent coming from the instrument dropping down, maybe the viola, dropping down there, and all of a sudden everything starts to break apart a little bit. And notice a couple of things here. The flowers have all been falling away from her. Some of them are going sideways, but some of them are going diagonally down, some of them are going straight down. And now as she wafts through them, now they're all going out. Almost all going out. And then she dissipates into petals, and you get this lovely whispered superhero Jagganath. And then it comes back in. I love that idea. We've had this lovely violin section, superhero Jagganath, boom! And they just come straight back in full force with the full, like, metal sound of that. And it's the same thing. And then bum, 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 bum. This is just 2 bars repeating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Oh, it's 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, of course it is. Derp. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 2, 3, 4. It's just repeating over and over again. And then for the last 4 bars, you just hear coming in from the background, the superhero Jagganath, getting louder and louder until we hit that final beat. This is so good. And away it fades. And I love that it's not a da-da-da-da-da-da. You get a but on the snare drum at the end. It's very slightly unfinished. Interesting. Is the snare the last thing you can hear? It is. The other instruments have faded or been stunned by the players. And the snare drum, you just get but there's sort of a just fading away there at the end. And then the dancer finally with all the colours on them. And you get the fade to black into the band's logo. Wow! I literally feel like I just went on a trip. That is bananas. I don't know what I expected from them. I don't know why I expected something that wasn't that. I didn't expect something that wasn't that, really, but I could have almost predicted something like this, and at the same time, I definitely didn't. Yeah. Wow, this video is something else. I actually really enjoyed that. I don't know how many times I'd watched the video in a row, but I like I said before, I definitely feel like I don't mind watching this because it fits the music so well. It's trippy as all goodness, but oof, yeah, wow. There we go. That is Superhero Jagganath by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. I hope that you enjoyed that. Thank you for staying with me, especially if you are still here over an hour into this video, because my goodness, there was a lot to dissect there. I I really genuinely hope you enjoyed that. I hope that if you've never heard of the Diablo Swing Orchestra before, check them out. This is far and away one of their more eclectic songs. They have things that are very, very much more... Probably should have said this at the beginning. They have things that are very, very much more metal and something else. Like, you know, metal and salsa, or metal and swing, or whatever it happens to be. This is a real crazy song, but that's almost kind of partly why I was interested in doing it. Plus, I don't know how many of their songs have official music videos. And because I've been listening to their stuff on... I've not got a Spotify account right now, so I was listening to their stuff on YouTube, and it recommended the video. Like, oh, okay, well, I have a channel that deals in this. Anyway... but yeah, if I brought you just the song, if you come across the band recently and hadn't heard this yet, well, there's a wake-up call for you. And if you knew the song, well, hopefully I was able to bring some small something or other to it that made you go, oh, I hadn't thought about that, or, oh, that's why I like that so much, because that's kind of what I try and do here. Is just, you know, explain what I'm hearing and seeing, and I feel very good if somebody, one person even, says... oh, now I understand why I enjoy that section so much, or now, you know, thank you for explaining this, or whatever it happens to be. Not that I'm looking for thanks, but it's that kind of effect that I'm hoping to have. I'm hoping to, you know, pass on my love of this music and these visuals, but also, you know, maybe explain something to folks about what they enjoy, if they maybe don't have the vocabulary themselves. So there we go, that's that. Please do like this video if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and if you would care to support the channel, you can do so at buymeacoffee.com or patreon.com. Both of those are /David K Reacts, or by leaving a super thanks here on YouTube. That's it for this week. I will be back next week with another video, with another very cool piece of music. I'm recording stuff in advance, by the way. This is being recorded. This will be... after this one, 3 videos now preloaded, because I'm going to have a little period of time where it's going to be difficult for me to record as regularly. So I'm recording these in advance so that I definitely have stuff to go out. So I'm not 100% sure what's happening next week because I haven't planned it out yet, but I'll figure it out. Please do have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day, morning, afternoon, evening, 2 a.m. Goodness, I hope you just didn't watch this at 2 a.m. Good luck getting to sleep if you did. Thank you so much for watching this with me and spending some time with me. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you again. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.